So whether you're a new Mac user or have had one for a little while, I wanted to share some must-have and useful products that will make your life a lot easier. And let's be honest, who doesn't want to level up their Mac experience? I wanted to say as well that every product in this video, apart from a couple, I have personally used and tested myself. So I wouldn't be recommending them if I didn't think they were worth it. So the first thing that many Mac users, especially MacBook Air users, will be after is a dock. The MacBook Air only has 2 USB-C ports, which for some people can be quite limiting. The issue here is that there is an array of USB-C hubs out there that it can actually be quite difficult to choose the right one. And you also don't want to be choosing one that could potentially damage your Mac. First up, and the cheapest of the bunch, is a simple USB-C hub from Anker. This one has 7 different ports, including HDMI, SD and micro SD card slot, USB-C port, Ethernet port, 2 standard USB-A ports, and I think this will be good enough for most people as it has enough ports and is built well enough too. Next up, we have a dock and monitor stand in one, which I think is actually pretty unique. It even has a wireless phone charger. This is ideal for someone who is regularly connecting their Mac to a monitor. It features 12 different ports, some of them on the left hand side and some of them hidden away underneath. On the outside, on the left side of the stand, there is 2 USB-C ports that can output up to 45 watts of power. Great for charging other devices, especially if you have an iPad. There are 2 standard USB-A ports. There is an SD and a micro SD card slot and a 3.5mm headphone jack. On the bottom, hidden away, there is a USB-C port designed to connect to your Mac, which can provide 100 watts of power, which should be plenty enough for most people. There's another USB-A port, an Ethernet port, and a HDMI port. And on top of that, on the right hand side, there's also a spot to wirelessly charge your phone, or you can charge a pair of AirPods. This is an awesome product, and I'm surprised it hadn't been done before, as it's perfect for so many desk setups. Finally, we have the big dog, the Anker Thunderbolt docking station. This is designed for heavy users due to the sheer number of ports that it has. It has 4 USB-A ports, 1 HDMI port, 2 display ports, a Thunderbolt port for connecting up a Thunderbolt device, maybe something like a Thunderbolt SSD, a Thunderbolt port on the side for connecting your MacBook, and 2 USB-C ports on the front. Depending on the Mac you have, you can technically connect up to 4 displays with this dock. It's pricey, but it really does do a very specific job that the other docks don't do. Keyboards. So there are a ton of different keyboard options out there. Here are my favorite keyboards for Mac users. The Magic Keyboard is the easy and default choice. It imitates the keyboard that's already on the Mac. It has a slim low profile, and it's actually the keyboard that I primarily use with my Mac. The next one I like is the Newfie Air 75. It's a low profile mechanical keyboard that has a similar layout to the Mac keyboard. With it being mechanical, you get much further key travel than the Magic Keyboard. It also has a pretty cute and quirky design. It's very popular, probably one of the most popular mechanical keyboards you can get right now. And then my final recommendation is the Logi MX Mechanical Mini. This is very similar to the Newfie Air 75, but it has a little more key travel and has a darker aesthetic. It's made by Logitech too, so you naturally get the confidence of a big brand that is known to make good tech accessories. Mice. So I'm actually a heavy user of the Magic Mouse, and I get a lot of hate for it. I can understand why. It's not very ergonomic or anything like that, but I've actually been using it ever since I got my first iMac back in 2013. So I've been using it for like 10 years, over 10 years now, and I absolutely love it. Mainly because of one key function this mouse has that no other mice has, and that it basically just has like a mini touchpad on top of the mouse. There is no other mice out there that can do that, and that's why I continue to use it. I also have no issues when it comes to sort of usage. I don't have any hand cramps or anything like that. I don't have any issues using it. Yeah, it's actually very comfortable for me. Maybe because I've gotten used to using it, but yeah, for me it's actually very, very comfortable. However, if you're not into the Magic Mouse, but still want a mouse made for productivity, the Logi MX Master 3 is the one to go for. It has so many buttons and dials on it that it should be more than good enough for most people. It's very ergonomic too, designed to perfectly fit in the hand. But if you want something that's even more ergonomic, there's the Logi Lift. I absolutely love this mouse and would actually be my personal pick if I didn't need the gestures that the Magic Mouse has. It feels so much more natural than any other mouse I've ever used. Now onto monitors, where things can get a little complicated. And the main reason being is that there is no best monitor out there. Every monitor will have different features, different functionality. There is no one monitor that's perfect for everyone. So when it comes to monitors and what you choose, it really does come down to personal preference. I personally use the Apple Pro Display XDR, which, let's be honest, just doesn't make sense for most people due to the $5,000 price tag that it has, but I absolutely love it. The 6K resolution, the 32-inch size, everything about it, the way I use it for video work, design work, photography work, stuff like that, it is an absolute dream of a monitor. It's just a shame it has such a high price tag. I also personally use the Apple Studio Display. I primarily use that one at home, and I think that's also incredible. But again, you can't really connect anything else to it. It doesn't have a HDMI port or a display port. It's very much just targeted for Mac usage, and it's only 60 Hz like the Pro Display. So I think for most people, the Studio Display also doesn't really make sense unless you're very much focused on just having a Mac setup. You're only going to connect your Mac to it, and you want the sort of Mac quality, the Apple quality. That's when it only makes sense. But other than that, I think you're better off going with something else. What most people actually want is a 4K monitor that can do a minimum of 120 Hz, has HDMI to connect up a games console, and ideally a USB-C port to connect up a Mac. But you also want to take into account whether the monitor can charge your machine. So not every monitor will have a USB-C port that can deliver power. There are some out there that can, but they're not actually that common. But if you've bought one of the docks that I mentioned earlier on in the video, this probably won't be a requirement for you anyway, because these docks usually have HDMI ports, display ports, or they can do the charging for you. So when it comes to charging, when it comes to power delivery, that's something to take into consideration, something to think about when you're choosing a monitor. There are 3 monitors that I currently recommend if you're looking for something that has a 4K resolution and can do 120 Hz. Well, all of these can do 144 Hz anyway. First one is the Dell G3223Q, which is a 32-inch monitor. Then there's also the Samsung G7, which is a 28-inch monitor. And then Asus also have the ROG XG27UQR, which is a 4K 27-inch monitor. And yeah, these 3 options I think are pretty good. They're much cheaper than the Studio Display, they're much cheaper than the Pro Display XDR, and they will fit the needs of most people. If you're looking for something fairly unique, there's also the LG Dual Up, which is essentially 2 1440p monitors stacked on top of each other. This is very much productivity focused and is specially designed for those that will take advantage of a portrait style monitor. The wild thing is with this monitor, you can actually have 2 devices connected at the same time and have them both showing on the display at once. So maybe you want to connect up your Mac and you can have that on the top, and then maybe you want to connect up a PS5 or an Xbox, you can have that on the bottom, and you can have them both showing on the display at the same time. So yeah, it's pretty awesome. If you're someone who likes having their laptop alongside their monitor, or just want to get their laptop screen up to eye level, 12 South have this awesome height adjustable laptop stand called the Curve Flex. By the way, if you're interested in this wallpaper, I'll leave a link to it down in the description. It goes a long way in supporting the channel. It's made from aluminium, so it feels absolutely solid, whilst also being fairly lightweight. They also do have the standard curve, which is a fixed height, and it's cheaper. If you prefer to tuck your MacBook away but not take up any desk space, 12 South also have the Book Arc. It's a very minimalist style laptop holder, which again is made from aluminium, with the part that your laptop sits in made from rubber, so it doesn't scratch the machine. For charging on the go, there's this awesome Anker power bank. It's pretty beefy, but it's one of the best chargers I've come across. It has a neat little screen on it showing charging and battery status, but it has one key feature, which is the ability to output at 140 watts, which is perfect for any MacBook. It will juice up any machine super quick. Headphones and earbuds. So my personal choice is the AirPods Pro. For me, they just make the most sense. They're the easiest to use. I do also have the AirPods Max, but I think the AirPods Pro are the ones that make the most sense for sort of any Mac user, any iPhone user. It's just so convenient. The sound quality isn't amazing naturally because they're earbuds. You're just not going to get superior sort of sound quality, but I'm willing to make that compromise to have the convenience and the portability of AirPods, and yeah, they just work seamlessly with the Mac. The one big issue with Macs is that it's darn expensive to upgrade the storage on them. So a lot of Mac users, including myself, I think it's worth buying an SSD if you need extra storage, because sometimes, you know, a lot of people don't actually need the storage in their Mac. They can usually just offload things to an SSD. And I think SSDs are just well worth spending the money on, because you're going to be saving a lot more money than having to upgrade your Mac when you actually spec it. The default recommendation for any external SSD is definitely the Samsung T7 SSD. It's fast, compact, and reliable, which is very important. Unfortunately, some other brands aren't known too well for their reliability, but Samsung seem to just be some of the most reliable ones you can get right now. Another option is the OWC Thunderbabe, which I've had for years now. I use it to back up my YouTube videos so that I can easily go back and get footage quickly if I need to. It's an external case that holds 4 standard 3.5-inch drives. It currently has 16 terabytes of storage, and this is currently my stopgap until I upgrade to a proper NAS, because for now it does the job. It's fast enough. I haven't filled it up yet. I think once I do completely fill it up, I will upgrade to a proper NAS system, use Ethernet and stuff like that. But yeah, for now, it works really well. For any MacBook owner, you're most likely going to need a sleeve to protect that machine. Bellroy have the Bellroy Light Sleeve. It's a pretty simple sleeve that has a good amount of padding all around to protect a MacBook. There's not really much else to it. It's a simple product that does the job. Now on to actually carrying a MacBook around. You'll of course need a backpack. It's actually quite difficult finding an aesthetic backpack that's also functional. I just feel like most backpacks are actually quite ugly. So I've spent quite a bit of time looking at all sorts of different backpacks, and I think this is one of my favorites. It's the Bellroy Via backpack. It's a pretty minimal and smart backpack that can fit up to a 16-inch MacBook. It has 12 liters of capacity, so it's a quite a big bag. You can fit quite a few things in it. There's a pocket on the inside front where you can put things away, maybe like AirPods or a phone, wallet or anything like that. It also has a key clip where you can attach your keys so they don't get lost in the bag. And there's even a sort of sunglasses pocket right at the top where you can put away sunglasses or a pair of glasses or whatever, so that it protects it from the rest of the things in your bag. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to check out my 13 unique Mac apps video. I have a bunch of app recommendations on there that you guys should definitely check out. If you have any recommendations for products, please leave them in the comments below. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter and subscribe for more.